We're here at Lake Marion, focused on the 21st year of Camp Happy Days, the loving answer for children with cancer. Stay tuned. Carolina People's coming up next. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're in Somerton, South Carolina. We're at Camp Happy Days, and we're focused on happy days and special times. And we're visiting with a woman who's much of the reason why we're here. Debby Stephenson, thank you so much for being with us.
Good morning, Greg.
Oh, yes, I love it. I love it. I hope the director was able to turn the volume down. It's 4 years, golly. We're so excited about all week to be able to highlight so many of the activities going on out here at Camp Happy Days.
It's awesome.
It is amazing. We've seen, I think you've got a litany, a whole line of some amazing folks, both counselors and campers, volunteers who committed up to 20 years of their life to be out here with you to really make this a reality. It's a big deal.
It's magical.
It is.
It's magical.
It is. It is. Talking to some folks earlier today, just trying to think through some of the aspects, and magical is a word that almost comes through. It wasn't used a lot in talking earlier on, but it is. It's something that's very apparent. It truly is. Your nickname's Flash. Where'd you get that, Debbie?
I don't know. I'd say, I'm quiet, kind of reserved type of person, and kind of go a little quicker than some, maybe. Wear a little glitzy stuff. I have a flashbulb on my head. At my age, I don't really care if I look stupid. So I'll do pretty much anything, and then I'm here and there and everywhere. And I guess that's how I got the name Flash.
This is the 21st year of Camp Happy Days, the 20th camp.
Yeah, 20th
the 21st year. Have you always been Flash?
Yeah.
Since the get-go?
Yeah, the first year.
You were in a couple of weeks ago at our Myrtle Beach studio, and I know we talked about that. You and Jay Bolts came in to highlight the kickoff, and I know that was right before camp kicked off. How long's camp been at Camp Bob Cooper here in Somerton?
We've been here since 1992. We were at the Girl Scout plantation in the Charleston area for like 8 years. Then we had Hurricane Hugo. And then we went to Camp PD for 2 years. Then I found this camp. Thank you, Lord, I found this camp. This is an awesome camp.
It is.
Because the Girl Scout plantation, I just don't know how we did that one. It was so primitive. It was tents, and mosquito netting was your best friend, and there was snakes everywhere, and it was, and this one has electricity, and this has air conditioning, and it has buildings, and it's wonderful.
How many campers and volunteers are here this week at camp?
I have 185 campers and 173 volunteers.
Wow. So there's a good ratio of volunteer or counselor.
I think we're unusual. I think that most camps have one volunteer for 10 children. I have one volunteer for 2 children. And I have many volunteers in charge of areas like special events and derby cars and team building and tasty zone and sewing, and we have so many areas. So we're putting 100 days in 7.
I know. And I think earlier in talking to somebody, they had said your first camp, or one of the first camps, you tried to do 2 weeks. And I was trying to think, golly, that's got to be a couple hundred days into 14
we
days.
didn't do that again.
Yeah,
we did that one time, we learned. It's too much. We put too much energy into it. It's too much, because I want the kids not to want to leave instead of they can't wait to leave. So you have to keep it like the carrot.
Good thinking. And what are the ages of the campers?
4 years old. You have 4 years old up through, actually, once you're mine forever, and I believe in building your leaders. So I have 4-year-olds, and then when they're 17, they become a junior counselor, and then when they're 20, they become a counselor. So I have many that have started as a child, graduated to junior counselor, and then graduated to junior counselor. It's pretty exciting.
That is. And they come from all over the East Coast, all over the country?
No, all over. I have the majority from South Carolina, but I have some from California, I have some from Washington State, I have some from Florida, Georgia, North Carolina. And the reason I have those, the majority of our children, as I mentioned, are from this area, the South Carolina area. But if there's a child that does not have an opportunity to go to camp in another state, or if their siblings not allowed to go with them, then I allow them to come to our program.
Right.
Because the bottom line is the children.
Absolutely. And the counselors get so much out of this.
Isn't it amazing?
And the program directors, it's gigantic.
It is. It's huge. They come from, and I've got, as you meant, I think you meant sport, and she's been here 20 years. Kabuti's been here 20 years. I've got some that are here 17 years, 18 years, 19 years, 5 years. We've got pins we give, and we've got our pin ceremony this Friday, and I've got somebody to get their first pin, which is the 5-year pin, and they can't wait. Did you see some of the bald heads?
Well, I've seen a lot of bald heads walking around today.
So some are because of cancer, and some are because the counselors are supportive of the kids that have no hair. And then some are the kids that I think the parents are going to kill me because the kids have their head shaved too, and I think that's not going to be a happy thing. But they did it in support of the friends.
On their own, sure.
Yeah, they did it on their own in support of their friends, and I think that's just incredible.
That is. This is such an enormous undertaking, Debbie, preparing. And you've got so many other activities. Happy Days and Special Times has the Renaissance Week. Yeah, I mean, there are just so many activities going on year-round for parents or for parents of children who are no longer with them.
Yeah. We do that in Myrtle Beach, because Myrtle Beach has such a wonderful aura about it. And I want people to come to these things with a feeling of anticipation and excitement. Because when you go to a resort area like Myrtle Beach, which has the beach and the wonderful hotels and terrific restaurants and the entertainment, and it's a vacation. It's a small vacation. It's a vacation. And then they have to discuss difficult things.
You've got to be ready when you're getting here. Those 51 weeks of the year that you're preparing for camp, you've got to be ready to get here and have some fun. And you do just that.
Wow.
What are some of the activities that both kids and counselors are getting involved in?
Every year it changes.
Yeah.
Last year we did the circus, but we won't do that again for 5 years because we've done that. So this year we had something, and this year's been incredible. We had these stunt men, Hollywood stunt woman and a stunt man that came, and they taught the children how to do stunts. And what they did first is they showed the kids how to do car scene. They start off with the stunt man starting off saying, "I can sing songs." He looked like one of our counselors, and would you like me to do an Elmer Fudd? And they asked if another girl in the audience could sing, and she said, "Oh yeah, I can sing the dark guitar." And then they had a little argument, and she hit him over the head, and then he hit her, and it was like, whoa. And then they started the music, so kids knew it was just a stunt. And then they had a car scene where they had a car, like an escape scene, so she, right in our little camp area. And then they taught all the kids how to do these things. They taught them how to, like, if I was going to punch you, I go like this and you duck, but it looks like you didn't, and then how you come back and you grab the arm, and then it showed how to do all this stuff. And then they filmed all this stuff, and then they put a film together for us all to see the kids doing their stunts. It was incredible.
Wow.
And then we have medieval times here this time. We have the jousting knights, knights and ladies. And this morning, we had all the medieval time type era. We had all the, we had horses and the men dressed as knights, and the jousting and the fire eating and all the different things you do in that era. And all that. And then tonight we have a big ring where we're going to do all this other activity with the horses. And we're going to do dinner. We were going to do dinner outside, but I don't think we're going to do it now.
You may not with
No,
this
I don't think we're going to do dinner outside.
That's right. Hopefully the viewers can hear the rain hitting on the tin roof here. What about a little background? I know we highlighted much of this when you and Jay were in the studio a few weeks ago, but a little background as to how Camp Happy Days was founded. Please, real quick.
Well, it's a project. I was a realtor for years and really loved doing what I did, but they made me the chairman of this Make America Better project. And I went to the president and said, well, now that I are one, what is it? And she said, oh, it's nothing. It's just something for the community. But not only do you like to do business with your community, but like to do something nice for our community. So I came up with a project in Somerville, which is the little community I lived in, and I found it to be against all the other boards of your size in the nation the best project. So I figured we'd just go ahead and win that. So I took out a local nursing home and did all the stuff. And anyway, we won it. And then I was made the state chairman. So I thought I had 35 boards help me raise money for something. So I read an article in McCall's magazine about a little girl named Teddy who lived in Rochester, New York. And the daddy was just devastated.
Right.
And so he went all over the nation looking for a cure, and there was none. So he was just getting ready for work one day, and in the background he heard the Today Show, and he heard a woman there saying that she'd started a camp for children with cancer in Michigan. And he said, that's what I will do. So I thought, well, that's what I will do.
Oh, God.
That had to be God-given, because I am not a camper by any stretch of the imagination, but I love what I do.
Obviously, the needs of these families were so great after you started the camp, the response being as strong as it was. That really motivated you to keep rolling.
The needs are great, and as you get to know the family, you get to know the needs, and then you realize that the child has a disease, but the family has cancer. It affects the family in many times negative ways. The times the families divorce, the siblings get into trouble with the school or with the law because there's so much attention put to the child with the disease. And so we're trying to make this a family unit. If we get the family together and going forward, then we have a better chance of the child surviving.
Why do you include siblings and families in this camping experience?
I think it's because I want the children all, see, I feel all children are our future. Every one of these children are our future. And if you can give them a healthy self-image, whether it be the child with cancer or the sibling, then you've got a better chance of having strong leaders. And it affects the whole family. I want these children to know that they're important also.
What do you hope the kids will get from their camping experience?
I want them to get hope. I want them to know that they can survive this. And I also want them to have support. I want them to know that no matter what they go through, that we at Happy Days care and are there in the crunches when they need us.
Can you talk for a minute about the folks who volunteer their time, that 170 folks?
That's incredible. I have the most incredible volunteers in the whole wide world. I've got attorneys and I've got plumbers. I have business people who own their own business, and I've got people that work in a Blockbuster. I mean, I've got all walks of life, but they all have one thing in common. They're all givers. They give their heart, and many times they give their money. They're incredible. The children absolutely adore the counselors. And I do too.
Yes, it shows. Golly, Debbie. Flash, it shows. Speaking of money, how much does it cost for a child, for a camper to go through camp?
It costs $250 to sponsor Child for Camp. We had 185 this year, so I can't do that in my head right this minute. But it's quite costly. And I think camp cost me about $112,000 cash, and I get probably another $100,000 of goods and services donated.
Right.
But it takes a lot of effort to raise the different monies to support all the different programs. And this has been a hard year. This has been a hard year. And I even at this moment, I don't really know if I have enough money to pay for everything. But we had to do camp.
You had to do camp. Absolutely.
These kids lived for it.
If folks in the viewing area could help out after the fact, I mean, can you still take funds after the fact?
You can believe it. You can believe it.
Obviously,
we're making a difference. And it takes a village to raise a child. And all your viewers are part of our village. Whether they give money or give their time or give a service or a good, it all makes a difference. And these kids are incredible.
Debbie, they truly are. They truly are. And speaking of that, I mean, it is so incredible. How do you feel at the end of the week when camp's done? I'm listening to Zonk.
We are Zonk.
Yeah.
But I feel so good. I love what we do, because you can see, during the week, you can see the difference. You can see a child come here that has no hair, and I've heard this so many times. When they came to camp, they knew they were going to die. And when they left camp, they knew they were going to live. And you can see it happen. You can see the child that is kind of withdrawn and not sure of himself and feeling no confidence at all, and leave with their shoulders back and confidence in their step and looking forward to the next day. Makes a difference.
It's those words, confidence in the step. I think the big word's hope. And Debbie used that. It's so well, and it's not only hope for the children with cancer, it's hope for the brothers and sisters of the children, it's hope for the parents, and for all the volunteers, all the counselors who want to see those kids return next year. Flash, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Stay tuned to more Carolina People coming up next. Good morning. Welcome back to Carolina People. This morning we're in Somerton, South Carolina. We're at Camp Happy Days, and we're focused on happy days and special times. And we're visiting with Wall Street. Chris Richardson. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning. How are you?
Thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you.
Incredible opportunity to kick off the week with you and Debbie, Flash, to think about all the activities that will be happening all week long. And you guys have been here. This is your sixth, seventh year here?
Sixth, seventh year, yep.
Amazing. You came how many years as a camper?
I came 1 year as a camper.
Okay.
Immediately after I finished up my chemotherapy. And I loved it so much I just kept coming back.
Wow. And you have been, what have you been doing back here for the last 5 or 6 years?
I've been working in the tasty zones, working on sweets and treats for the cancer patients, cancer kids, and some of the survivors and their brothers and sisters.
Chris, has anyone else ever crashed the tasty zone?
Oh, all the time. Campers, counselors, and even Flash.
Flash has been in there?
Yep, plenty of times.
She didn't tell us that earlier. I guess after 20-some years of camp, she can crash the tasty zone.
She can do whatever she wants.
If she wants to. That's right. Speaking of Flash, how did you come in contact with Flash, Chris?
When I first met Flash, I was sick in the hospital. And when she first came in my room, there was this big woman with red hair, and she was flashy, and I thought she was the craziest person in the world. And when she left, I was like, I'm so glad I'll never have to go through that again. But as time went on, she really grew on me, and I guess I grew on her.
She kept coming back to see you?
Yeah, she kept coming back to see me in the hospital, and she got me a trip to Disney World and some time off from the hospital. It really reinvigorated me and re-energized me, got me a chance to go on fighting. And I've always appreciated her ever since.
Speaking of going on fighting, you were afflicted with cancer. How are you doing now?
Oh, I've been in remission for about 6 years now.
Is that right? Wow.
I survived it. I was given 5 years to live at the time. But I think Happy Days had a large part of me surviving that cancer and having the energy and the drive and the will to want to live and move on.
You've seen kids who haven't experienced Camp Happy Days. You've seen folks who may not have been given that added drive or that added push. What do you think about the camp and other special time Happy Days activities that help give you that drive?
I think Happy Days is absolutely wonderful. I think it's the one of the best programs for a lot of the kids who've had cancer and a lot of us who've survived it. It gives us a chance to see where we've been and unite together as a family of people. Just come together and experience cooking or cleaning or going swimming or fishing. It's just united by Debby in one big family, and we absolutely love it.
And speaking of that family, Chris, did you have other family involved?
No, I'm an only child.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
How have your parents accepted Happy Days? Have they been
My family, they've been extremely supportive of me doing this. They totally understand it, and they understand that family connection that everyone has.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. What's your job here? When you think about the Tasty Zone, is it keeping folks out of there? Are you preparing?
It's everything, from decorating cupcakes to decorating kids' faces. We do everything in there. We make all sorts of fun treats, cat poop cookies.
Oh, yeah.
Puppy chow. All sorts of fun treats for the kids. So that's what I think about mainly.
We're going to have to stop there on the way out before we get out of here and get some of those cat poop treats. That sounds great. What about the experience of attending school? You attended college in Atlanta?
Mm-hmm. I went to Emory University.
And what are you doing this summer other than Happy Days?
After this week, I'm going to go back to work. I'm working at a law firm in Atlanta, Atlanta Legal Aid, and I'm going to help screen cancer patients, low-income cancer patients, for legal advice and legal aid.
Great. Wow, that'll be a meaningful experience.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something you've done any other summers, or is this your first time doing that?
This will be my first summer doing this. I gave up a scholarship to Scotland because I love working in this kind of atmosphere so much.
You gave up a scholarship to Scotland to be at Camp Happy Days?
To not to be at Camp Happy Days, but to do my job.
To do the job in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. That's a huge commitment.
But Camp Happy Days had a large influence on why I gave up that job. I see what Flash does, and I see what a lot of other people gave up very lucrative positions and jobs to do this, and I see why, and I understand why too.
Do you keep in touch with many of the campers during the other 51 weeks of the year?
Yes, I do. It's a big family for all of us. We're always catching up with each other. We're always finding out how each other is doing. When one of us is happy, we're all happy, and when one of us is sad, we're all sad. And that's how it feels. It feels like a big family.
Fantastic. 200 folks. That's a huge family, particularly as an only child.
As an only child, it's a very fulfilling experience to have brothers and sisters I never had.
All over. That is wild. What do you think about special memories of your involvement with Happy Days, Chris? Can you think of any, or are there so many? I mean, are there any you remember in particular?
There are more than I can count. But there is one moment I had back when I actually did have cancer. When Flash got me that week at the Disney World, they got me that week off of chemotherapy treatments. I was a time at Universal Studios where I was just thinking to myself that this is the happiest I've ever been in my life.
Wow.
And I don't think I've ever been happier than at that moment 6 years ago when I was at Universal Studios, and I was in a wheelchair, and I thought to myself that this is the happiest I've ever been because it gave me a chance to get away from the hospital and get away from the chemotherapy and just be a kid. And, I've been graduated from Emory. I've been many places, and I don't think I've ever reached that level of happiness I got that day because I was just so down and so burdened before that day.
Wow. Wow, that's powerful. When you think about all the aspects that it impacts not only yourself but your family members and others around you, what does Happy Days and special times provide to a child and family, the family aspect that's struggling with cancer?
The thing about cancer that a lot of people don't understand is that it's not just losing one's hair. It's a painful experience that affects just more than one person. It affects the entire family. It's not just one child having the cancer, it's the entire family that has the cancer. And what Camp Happy Days does is it provides that net, that safety net that provides love, comfort, and support that many people just don't realize or understand. And that's what Happy Days does. They do dream dates. It's just more than camp. They do all sorts of events for the kids that just aren't done by other organizations, and it gets them outside of the hospital and gets them to something that they may have never experienced or seen before because they're in the hospital so much or because they're suffering so much.
Chris, the producer of the show wanted me to ask you about, is there a balloon drop or a balloon...
Oh, the balloon ceremony. What that is that all of us as a camp, counselors, everyone, we gather here on the water, and we all come together and we remember our happy moments, our sad moments. We remember those we've lost, and those we'll always remember. And we release the balloons, and we put our hopes and our dreams and our prayers into those balloons. And we just remember and reflect on where we've been and who we've been with and where we want to go.
That's amazing. That's great. That's great. That's a great thing. Everyone gets together to do that.
Everyone gets together, yeah.
That's fantastic. What do you think's impressed you the most about Flash, about Debby Stephenson?
When I first met her, I really did think that she had issues. I thought she was insane. And I didn't understand how this woman could be so happy in the midst of so much pain and suffering. But I understood that there was reason behind what she does. And I've always told her that she's one of the few people that I truly do admire, because so few people are willing in life to do what they truly love and do what truly makes them happy. And this is what makes her happy. And I've always been a great admirer of someone who can do that. And I love her and respect her with all my heart because she does that. And she cares so much. And she knows every one of these kids, all 200 of them, by name, and she knows their story. And that's an amazing thing for a person to be able to do.
That is truly amazing. If there was a message you'd want to send to our viewers in the PD and on the Strand and in southeastern North Carolina, what do you think Wall Street would want to get out to them?
That 1 in 3 of every American suffers through cancer. And cancer has the effect that it can paralyze a person's family. Cancer's it's broken families. It's destroyed lives. It's not just losing one's hair. It's a grueling and tough battle, and it's not easy. And this organization and any organization that helps cancer patients and victims needs all the help they can get. And I think that if you are willing to be brave yourself and get involved in this kind of life and helping cancer patients, then more power to you. And I highly encourage everyone who can to do it.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Real quick, how did you get that nickname Wall Street?
I was on a bus coming back from the Disney World trip, and I think I was reading a copy of the Wall Street Journal. And ever since then, I've had that name.
That's hilarious. That is hilarious. All the time and all of your energy involved in this week here, as well as thinking about it year-round at some level, being involved in this job right after camp in Atlanta and giving up that trip to St. Andrews. When you think about all that, can you put in words what Camp Happy Days means to you?
For me, it means life's mission. It means that in life you have your struggling, you have your pain, and you have your suffering. But in the midst of all that, you can find happiness if you want to. And Happy Days helps those cancer patients and victims find that happiness in the midst of that struggling and pain. And I think that's what Happy Days means to me and to a lot of other cancer patients out here.
Chris Richardson, seen a lot of kids who weren't able to experience Happy Days and may not be here now, a lot who have experienced Happy Days and haven't made it, and a lot who've experienced Happy Days that have been given that extra push to stick it out, push like himself. that added push to really stick it out and giving them that mission. Chris Wall Street Richardson, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you.
Congratulations on your studies. Just stay there a second and stay tuned to more Carolina People coming up next. We want to thank Debby Stephenson, Camp Happy Days volunteers and campers for making today's Carolina People so special.